battery they developed. You drive under its plate. It's like a big metal plate sitting on the ground. You just drive over it.
And then
you got to get out of the car and go behind this big old blast shield. And in 10 minutes, he can charge you a 500-mile charge in 10 minutes.
Yeah, they have. I mean, people accept it on the phones. Like you can put the phone on a thing and it'll charge the phone. That's the same thing, just bigger, just scale.
Hey, the other day, my friend's electric car didn't work, so I gave him a jump start with my iPhone.
And it was intended to be jingle bells in your pocket at all times for the holidays. We started it right before Christmas, in about sometime around mid-November or so. And
oh boy, I just reached my hand into my pocket. My pen is just yeah. I'll worry about that later. But
put anything back in there. I decided to clean out a bunch of the storage units that they had around here. They had 2 or 3 storage units in various storage places that just had old district desks and all kinds of other junk, right? And I said, we shouldn't be paying for this stuff. Let's get all this stuff out of here. So I started pulling all this stuff out. And I got a call from one of the maintenance guys, and he says, hey, we got this old electric vehicle that you guys built in the storage shed. You guys want this? I said, I have no idea what you're talking about. I said, bring it to me. And so they brought it to me, and it's an electric vehicle. Like it's like a racer, like a cardboard racer style. Like it's a full metal thing. They got a bunch of sponsors from the local shops and that kind of stuff. And it's like a full-on batteries, like the whole thing, right? And I said, when was this built? And they said, about 10 years ago that they built this. And I said, we actually have a history of building vehicles of 10 years in this building.
Did they race it? Did they get medals?
No, they didn't race it and get medals, but they built it and like raced it around town.
Oh my gosh.
So it sits right next to this one. Normally it sits right next to it. It still works. I am with the Electric Vehicle Association. This right here is a vehicle that was built by students on San Juan Island. It was built by a bunch of 13-year-old 8th graders.
13-year-old 8th graders built this.
Yep.
So this vehicle started everything.
Yep.
The one, I mean, I have gotten Derek on tape talking about it, but this vehicle, does it have a name?
Switch Vehicles calls this a glider.
The glider,
That's what
okay.
they call it, the glider, but the students have never given it a name.
Yeah, you gotta name them.
Now that I say that, like I said, I'm going to meet with them next week, the students who want to work on this for this coming year, and I'm like, they need to come up with a name. It needs like a Gertrude or like a something. I don't know what it is. I don't want to name it. I want them to name it, but I'm like...
Sparky, because it sparked the revolution.
But I'm like, yes, we actually, this is technically our
something
second.
Tesla-centric. You should name it something Tesla-centric to get one of those boring company flamethrowers and stick it on there.
I was this close to pulling the trigger on that.
Hey, it's not a flamethrower.
That's right. It's not a flamethrower.
The
boring company, not a flamethrower. So I got an email from the FAA saying, like, by the way, it is now illegal to mount weaponry to your drone. And I was like, what? Why would they? What
Who needs to know that? Oh, you drove this car once? How did it handle?
It doesn't have power steering, so it's hard, but it's awesome. It's so much fun.
So it's a manual steering system.
Yes.
So, but as long as it's rolling, it's easy
fine.
enough to steer.
Yeah.
But it's like an old MG where you have to like get it going and then you can steer.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's cool. You feel like kind of like a race car. You're low to the ground. It's cool.
Were you one of the students that?
No, but I worked with Derek as an intern when they were building it, so I got to test it out because I was the only one who had their license.
So what's your name?
Isabella.
Isabella.
Yeah.
Built by school kids, and because it's a 3-wheeled vehicle, it qualifies as a motorcycle. So you have to have a motorcycle endorsement to drive it.
Oh, this is a motorcycle.
Yep.
This is that's cool.
Yep. In Washington State, you have county exceptions to get vehicles waived from being a motorcycle if it's car enough like. And the local sheriff said that this is close enough to a car that you can get basically be exempt. So if you have a normal car driver's license, you can drive it because it doesn't have features like you don't turn the indicators like you do on a motorbike. You have like an actual column stock like you would in a normal car.
Right.
So it drives like a car. It just is classified as a motorbike, but the local sheriffs won't stop anyone from driving it.
There was an 8th grade STEM class that needed a teacher just for one semester, and the principal came to me and said, would you be willing to teach? I was teaching high school STEM classes at the time, and we share a campus with our middle school here in Friday Harbor, and I said, I don't know if I know the mindset of 8th graders, I don't know if I'm ready to do that, and he said, well, think about it, and I said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that, and like 2 days later I came back and I said, I'll tell you what, you let me build a full-size street legal electric vehicle with these students and I'm in, having no idea how to do that, but I definitely thought that'd be a good idea. And he was like, do it.
That's so cool. That's so
Here
cool.
we are. Right. And we're actually hoping that we've had a very traditional auto shop for many years where it's been very much combustion engines. Our old auto shop teacher was very much into hot rods. He used to take the students to hot rod races here in the Northwest and stuff, and that was all great. But we also would like to turn our auto shop into a hybrid electric vehicle conversion shop in addition to. And so they would be able to work with both at that point, too, combustion engines and anything from hybrids to full conversions to electrics here on the island. So we're hoping to end up there.
Maybe we can start the first association of public school conversions.
Totally,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Turning shops into conversion shops. So I was going to
Yeah.
say, we have a lot of beautiful old vehicles here on the island, and even though I'm willing to bet in the coming decade you're going to find that most new vehicles are all going to be all electrics.
Right.
Just because of economy. I mean,
Right. I mean, well,
eventually people are going to realize, boy, it sure is a lot cheaper to drive an electric vehicle.
So I noticed that this is a lead acid sled here.
This right here is the prototype that they initially built. They want to take this and make more vehicles out of it. So this right here is the prototype. They want to build one with a lithium-ion battery bank and then make them for the local tourism market. Because we're on a small island here, there's a whole bunch of little current mopeds that have like 60cc engines or whatever, like super small engines. They don't drive the speed limit. The people on the island aren't really fans of it. But this right here will do the speed limit. So they're going to build 40 or 50 of them is the plan. And then basically have them be rented out.
25, 13-year-olds. Wow. I did not turn a single bolt on this vehicle.
So when all those kids turn 16,
They are all turning seniors this year,
they
and
ready
we
to
are.
drive?
They not only are they. We're going to start a new project already, but our goal actually, and it was since we started this project, was what we want to do is manufacture about 40 of these and turn them into our island vehicles, working with Susie's Mopeds, and have all of our island rental vehicles be full-size, street legal, electric. They go the speed limit, all hand designed by our students. Each one has its own individual story.
that's amazing.
A team picture will come with the car.
Wow.
That kind of is our goal over the next 5 years or so,
that's
6 years
really
or so.
cool.
And we want to have also teams of community members build also, adults. I don't know how low we can go, but I think we can get all the way down into the 4th grade, 5th grade, that kind of level, and still have them working at this for sure. But I had a couple of seniors who were our TAs, and they were kind of the quality assurance, quality control at the very back end of this to be sure that every single bolt and everything else was completely tightened and stuff.
Yeah.
But they didn't actually do any of the work. The students actually designed and did everything themselves. Although Opalco is also, we've been talking with Opalco about making sure that we've got tons of electric vehicle charging stations around the island for people to be able to use, which they're going to be cutting a ribbon today for
So is it?
charging stations here at the airport, which is even better.
So does this read the state of charge?
It
or-
does.
Okay.
It does, but it's just a simple cycle computer. Yeah.
And then I assume this is is this the battery disconnect?
Exactly. It's just
Okay.
a quick, that kills everything. So if
And
you're
then-
driving along and something were to catch fire or anything else, you could at least shut everything down.
Is there a BMS in here at all?
a BMS?
Yes. Battery management system.
Oh no, there is
Okay.
not.
So this
There's not. Other than the charging system, no.
what are the 4 indicators here?
Most of it, we worked with Switch Vehicles in California, and even though they did the frame for us, the different components as far as battery work, all the electronics, whether it's AC, DC, what voltage, all that kind of stuff is still, the students can kind of hand pick and decide what they want to do and for different reasons why. And so some of these things I think are just largely built where you can add in systems in the long run.
Okay.
Right now though, really, I don't think any of the 4 of these give us anything we need from this vehicle. Because the turn signal's here.
Oh, this
The high
this
beam
lights
is
up for
here.
the, and then that's hazards
But I'm
right
like,
there?
no, I really do think these are truly just for additional things.
I assume one of these is a motor controller.
Yeah, motor controller,
Okay, motor controller.
distribution. This one actually runs all of the 12-volt battery here. Just runs all of the small stuff like the
That there.
turn
the-
signals.
Right, because
charging.
most everything is built on a 12-volt system.
Correct.
You can't run it on. Is that a 48-volt?
72.
72 volt.
Yeah, we've got
up in front.
six 12-volt batteries run in series to get a 72-volt system. which makes it at least as efficient as we could possibly squeeze out of these 6 AGM batteries.
Right.
We get about 35 miles out of it so far. It's about the most I've ever seen it, and that was like limping back into the STEM building was at about 35 miles. But our hope this year is to both waterproof. We're going to seal everything, all the electronic components, into something that can handle the rain better.
Like a splash guard. And
Well, that's I was going to say. I've gone through a few puddles, and I'll tell you, this thing.
well, at least it's not a lithium ion yet.
Well, we're gonna.
Then we'd go up.
We want to put a lithium ion in this, so it's going to have to be all sealed up properly. But I'm like, we do want to put a lithium ion in this. Our goal is at least 80 to 100 miles before recharge. If we're going to have this as a rental vehicle on the island, we're going to need it to be at least 80 to 100 miles of usable mileage before a charge.
And is there a coolant for the motor or anything?
There is not.
Okay, so it's just air cooled right now, basically. So that there is a DC motor. Okay.
Correct.
It looks like a Curtis to me, but it says it's from a company in Syracuse, New York.
It is.
Okay. And so, why did you go with this motor here?
They went through a whole process with Switch vehicles to be able to say, like I said, whether they wanted to go AC or DC, whether they wanted to go 48 volt, 72 volt, the seating configuration. It can be 2, it can be 4, it can be 1 in the center, so you have to redo all of the electronic stuff to fit the center. There was just a bunch of things that they had to decide kind of where they wanted to be.
Is there a web page at all?
There's not.
Okay.
There's not. I mean, the school district doesn't even, I don't think they have it on the website at all. I'm not even sure if the district office knew we did this when we did this. So
That's funny.
It happened. Well, it happened fast. For one thing, like I said, the principal needed a teacher to teach this class like 3 days before the class, and my schedule was open enough to take it, and so I did. But like I said, at that point, I had been thinking about this for a number of years prior, and we just kind of went for it. And so,
well, I mean, it's great that these guys did this, because I mean, they could get a job for any electric vehicle manufacturer.
Well, I'll tell you what, these were 8th graders who had never even driven a vehicle before. That the first vehicle that they interface with at this level was something that they hand built themselves. They're all turning seniors this year. The ability to be able to go get jobs with Tesla, current auto manufacturers in Detroit. Our students should be out being able to do any of those things.
They signed.
They did. I had them. Although I'm going to have them re-sign this, and I'm going to probably lacquer and seal them in there for good.
Okay.
So yeah, all 25 of them signed it. Then actually underneath here, Bailey Lambright, our production team leader. One of the girls who was in the class took over as the production team leader. She put her name up on the top because she was the one who actually had her hand on every single bolt and nut in this car to make sure that it got built. But so we got lithium-ion battery pack. We need to seal up the electronics, and at that point we could actually, like I said, we would consider it at least a rental vehicle, or at least the option for rental vehicle, and then we want to start production on.
The other question is, before I record this, is the school district gonna see the funds from the rental company, or?
Oh, so no, you can ask. So what we've talked about, at least the school district, and what we've initially talked about with Susie when we proposed this idea, was that the school district, we have a potential donor that wants to fund this project, and so what we want to do is build all the vehicles and have the school district be the one that owns the vehicles. We would have Susie's be renting them and be the main distributor of the rentals and stuff like that, and then our students would continue to maintain these vehicles. And what we would do is we would get, like, say, a 2% or 3% of the rental, so that we could just maintain the fleet. The goal was not to have the school district ever actually make any money or profit from this. The goal was to have this be
We are at an air show, guys.
Yeah, exactly. The school district doesn't want to make any money off of this. What we want to do is have our students help provide an island-wide solution, which is getting little small gasoline engines as rentals off of this island and replacing them with clean electric vehicles, custom designed and hand-built by our own students. And so in that way, all we're looking for is any of the funds that it takes to maintain these vehicles. New tires, brake pads, batteries when they need replacement, stuff like that. We would make sure that we would have some kind of a small thing like that as part of the rental agreement, just to ensure that we can continue to maintain them. But still, at the same time, we need to keep in tune with that. The fact that there are still a tremendous amount of internal combustion engines on the road, and they're still going to also need to keep working.
Right.
And so, and just become cleaner and better, and So our students get a chance to work at the edges of all of those things. So then we're going to build some experimental aircraft, and then we're going to start working on rockets.
Go to the moon.
Yep, absolutely.
In this decade.
Absolutely. I
will
got
do these
volunteers who
things.
are already ready to go to the moon.
Just strap on a jetpack.
That's right. Actually, they would. They would. If we built it, they would. I probably would too. I tell you, I drive around in this vehicle hand-built by 13-year-olds frequently, and I'm like, yeah, I'd get in a rocket built by these kids. I'd probably get in a plane too.
I think I would too.